Hello everyone, welcome to episode 80 of Generation GC, Stick to Your Guns, Interlude from Youth Authority, Good Charlotte's 6th album released in 2016. My name is Molly Hudelson once again, and as always, I'm your host, as well as the producer, creator, and editor of this show, and my guest today is Jessica Libert. On our last regular episode, we talked about counting the days from cardiology. Last time, we had a bonus episode where we talked about Jaded by Mest featuring Benji Madden. Next time, we'll be doing a special retrospective episode about Generation RX as a whole. Jessica is 31 years old and lives in New Jersey. We had a lot of fun bonding about that, by the way. I lived in New Jersey until about a year ago. By day, she's a project specialist for a technology company, and by night, she's an avid concert goer and a big collector of concert-related items. I think you all are really going to enjoy hearing about her collections. She loves to travel and plan trips around going to shows, and GC has been her favorite band since she was in 7th grade. I wanted to say that I love having guests from all around the world and from all different backgrounds on Generation GC. If English isn't your first language, that's okay. As long as you're comfortable holding a conversation in English, you're good to go. And different backgrounds doesn't just mean location or ethnicity. That means ensuring a varied gender and sexuality representation, representing fans of different ages, fans with their own unique life experiences of any sort. My goal is for everyone listening to this show to feel like they're being represented by the guests that I speak with. I also want to continue mentioning blacklivesmatters.card.co, antisemitism.card.co, and anti-Asian-violence-resources.card.co. It's important to continue educating ourselves. Finally, Generation GC stickers are here. If you do want stickers, there's two things you could do. Number one, support the show on Anchor. Go to anchor.fm/GenerationGCPod and click support. All of that money goes right back into making the show the best that it can be. It helps me print and ship the stickers, and it also helps me buy equipment that I need to keep the show going, such as microphone cable, laptop riser, and some headphones. Number two, you can make a charitable donation. This week, Jessica is asking you to make a donation to Write Love on Her Arms. Go to twloha.com and click donate, or buy a piece of merch from their store, because that goes right back to helping the organization. I talk about mental health and the importance of taking care of yourself a lot on this show. We've talked a little bit about stigma as well, and To Write Love in Her Arms does a fantastic job at outreach, at education, at decreasing the stigma, and at reminding people that there is help and hope out there. I was so happy that Jessica mentioned To Write Love in Her Arms. I've mentioned them a couple of times before on the podcast. You know, it's a cause that's important to Jessica and a cause that's important to me as well, so I hope you will consider supporting them. So you're going to take a screenshot of either your charitable donation or your support of the show on Anchor. You're going to send that to me along with your mailing address, and I will send you stickers. You can shoot me an email at generationgcpod@gmail.com, or you can hit me up on socials at generationgcpod, POD, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll send you some stickers. Well, that's about it for our intro, and now on to episode 80.
All right, so Stick to Your Guns, the Stick to Your Guns interlude, which, by the way, I'm not sure if interlude is supposed to be included in quotation marks in the song title, or if it's just Stick to Your Guns and it's an interlude. I don't know. We'll figure that out between now, the time of recording, and when this goes live. But this one is track 8 on Youth Authority, Good Charlotte's 6th album, which was also their comeback album released after hiatus in 2016. Track 7 was Stray Dogs. Track 9 is The Outfield, which, listeners, you may remember from this episode that The Outfield is one of my absolute top Good Charlotte songs. Thoughts on this track listing, Jessica?
Well, first, this album is, I think, one of their best.
Yeah.
I think all the songs work perfectly together. I noticed that when I listen to this album on in a shuffle of other music, if one of these songs come up, I'm expecting the next one.
Yes, seriously.
It's weird because I'm like, no, that's not. We're on shuffle. So it's definitely one of those albums I think are just so perfectly meshed together and just work. And then, Stick to Your Guns. It's one of the songs that is smack dab in the middle. and it just works so well. And it's a 1.5-minute song. You don't even realize it's like that short. It just works
flows
so well.
Between Stray Dogs and the Outfield that you kind of don't really notice the length of the song itself.
Yeah, because I when we were discussing this and I looked up the song, I was like trying to refresh, and I was like, wow, this is a 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, you sent me like either an email or like a Twitter DM that was like, wow, I don't know how much we'll have to talk about a 1.5-minute song, but
we'll make it work.
Here we are. Yeah, I mean, I had a great episode on A New Beginning.
Did you? I have to look that up, because that alone is a whole other conversation we could have.
Yes. Yeah. But I really just like how this places like a nice and also like necessary, I think, bridge between Stray Dogs and the Outfield. And like, as I was listening to the song before we started recording, I just like searched the song on Spotify and I clicked it, and I was expecting the Outfield to play after, but it just pulled up like, other Good Charlotte songs. I was like, oh, why am I hearing Screamer right now?
Love Screamer, but but yeah, definitely, like, and especially Stick to Your Guns. I don't know, it just flows so perfectly into Outfield that like there's times where it just pops up and I'm all you're bopping in the car, and then it ends and you're like, no, Outfield. Oh yeah. But I just think, and I think it's so necessary, and I also feel like for this song, it works so well for an album after their hiatus, because I feel like they needed that hiatus after the last album to really I guess work on their, like, they were dealing with like their family, correct, and like their own lives, and I feel like this was coming back, and you're kind of sticking to your guns, and I feel like they needed that quick song to just be like, we're sticking with this. This is who we are. You have to just flow with it. And if you don't like it,
exactly.
But in a nice way, they word it like, stick to your guns, because that's what we're doing.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about the meaning of the song interpretations in a bit. But just to go through some more quick facts, it was written by Benji and Joel Madden and John Feldman, who Feldman also produced the album. This song was not a single. I don't believe it has ever been played live. Although, like, imagine this as either like an intro to their set or like between parts of the set. Like, I was imagining if they transitioned between like kind of a block of old songs into like a block of new songs. This could be like a little transition as they tune the guitars. I don't know. It could have worked.
I have the set list. I feel like, should I like run and see the set list from this tour?
Sure,
I have it on my wall. Hold on.
I have it on my wall too. That's
Do
like,
you really?
Yeah, that's the I'm trying to.
Yeah, no, I see it. It's right behind you. I saw them twice for this tour. And for the first time, it was my birthday, and I got to meet them. It was a whole thing. And I was moving the next day out of state to North Carolina. And I looked it up. I was like, oh, Good Charlotte's playing like 2 days after we move. So we did the whole move. I bought the tickets, and then we were so tired from moving that we just kind of were hanging out in the back. We saw the sound guy, and my boyfriend was like, can she have that for her birthday? And I have it. So you want me to, oh wait, can you look behind you? Because mine is like across the room. Does it have Stick to Your Guns on it?
It does not.
Do you want me to check mine real fast?
Yeah, check it real fast.
Okay.
Sure.
Hold on. Yeah, no, it's not on there.
Yeah.
But that would be really cool to have that, even if it's, because I remember seeing them for, going back to like New Beginnings, where you had a good conversation. I remember seeing them for the Young and Hopeless tour, and that was a great intro. And I feel like this would be awesome to like stick in the middle, at least for like in between.
Exactly.
And just, if they need to take a break, it's a really like good song to kind of have that.
Right. If they need to tune their guitars for a second,
Yeah, or even like the sound, like the music in the background with no words, and like having the crowd sing along.
Oh my God, yeah.
Awesome. Like, like all the like big fans are going to be singing along to it.
Yeah.
I think that's you need to tell them that. I think it's a good idea.
Well, I don't know. I know Benji listens. I think Joel listens sometimes too. So maybe they'll take our advice. Yeah. Well, Jessica, we do have a lot to talk about with Stick to Your Guns, but I want to help our guests get to know you.
Okay.
And the first question I like to ask is, when did you first hear Good Charlotte, and what were your first thoughts on them?
I first heard of them. I was in 7th grade, and I was listening to Fuse. I was on watching Fuse TV. That's where I got all my music from as a kid. And so I was 11 or 12, and Little Things came on. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I saw Mandy Moore. And I was like, why is Mandy Moore in this video? I thought it was so weird. And like I looked at the video because I was like, and mind you, this is like dial-up days where like it took like an hour to find something. So but I went online and I was like, was Mandy Moore in this Good Charlotte video? And then I saw that they had more music, and it never stopped from there. But
amazing.
I always like to say Mandy Moore is the reason why like I kind of like really looked into them. I liked the song already, so I wanted to look into it. But then when you see Mandy Moore, you're like, what's she doing?
I mean, I think that's probably like exactly why Mandy Moore was
probably. And it's one of those things where I was like, cool, I like them. And then shortly after, The Hopeless came out, and it just never stopped. But Little Things on Fuse. That's how I found Good Charlotte. I
love it. Yeah. Well, you've already answered this question, but I always ask, have you ever seen Good Charlotte live?
Yes, a lot. Yeah. I think I've seen them maybe close to 20 times.
Wow.
But that's including like festivals and stuff.
Sure,
too,
yeah.
Like behind me are like my ticket wall.
I was looking at that, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's close to about 20 times I've seen them live. Anytime they tour, I get tickets, unless it's like a really inconvenient day, but usually, especially if they're playing at Starland,
one of my few regrets in life, I was telling this story to my boyfriend recently, because he had asked something about if I had ever like gone out to eat alone, if I ever would go to concerts alone. And I told him that one of my few like regrets is it was like 2008, fall 2008, Good Charlotte was touring and they were going to New York. I want to say Irving Plaza. And I was like, maybe gonna go. And then at the last second, my friend like couldn't make it and I didn't want to go alone. And I regretted it so much. And after that, I kind of like vowed to never let, not having someone to go with stop me from doing what I want to do.
Yeah, that was the tour. That was for Cardiology. I was at that show.
No, this was 2008. This was before
2008. Sorry. Yeah. Maybe I wasn't at that show then. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know then, because usually I would have to like go to my board. I can't keep track anymore.
Yeah.
But I probably was there. Especially in New York. Yeah, that's usually where I went. And then once, I learned how to drive.
Yeah.
I went to all my shows in Jersey.
Well, so Jessica, you live in New Jersey now, where I lived for a very long too. And, we lived in a similar part of the state. How has life been since moving to New Jersey?
I actually really like living in New Jersey. And I don't know what that says about the other places I've lived, but I really like it here. I feel like this has been like my favorite place to live.
Yeah.
I've been here for almost 3 years now, and there's so much to do. You're near everything. You're near Philadelphia.
Exactly.
You're near New York City. My family and friends are right over the bridge. So it's definitely, and the food is so good.
There's a lot of good food. And I even felt like as a vegan, like the part of New Jersey I lived in had so much like Asian food and Indian food. And so that was really nice. And same as you, I really liked that I felt like I had the beach, I had Philadelphia, I had New York. I also had, family very close, which was so great.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Like, the weather's not ideal, as we've seen.
But the weather in the Northeast is the weather in the Northeast. Like,
exactly. But you know what? Like, we have the hot summers, we have the cold winters. At least we have weather changes, and it's nice. I'm a summer person, so I'm living up this weather until until the next week.
Two questions for you, New Jersey related. The first being, how did you fare in this storm this week?
I was fine.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing happened for me. It just I live like right next to a lake.
Okay.
But it overflowed a little bit. But we're elevated, so if the water would have gone high enough to like our parking lot,
that would be concerning.
My town would be underwater.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise we were fine. I know my hometown, they were literally underwater. Like my family, they had, water in their house. But
Wow.
for me, it was, I was getting calls like, "Are you okay?" I looked outside. I'm like, "We're fine."
Yeah.
Like there's not, so we're lucky. And I'm also on the second floor. So so if water were to come in, that'd be even scarier.
Yeah. I am so glad you're okay. I also definitely got pretty lucky here in Philly. My parents and up in a little north in New Jersey got pretty lucky too, which is nice.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I saw Philadelphia was very like the highway too. I think
luckily that's like not super close to where I am. Thankfully.
Good,
so I did okay.
I saw the videos and I was like, "Oh my God, they're bad too."
I got texts from a couple of friends that were like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Like,
yeah, me too. I was like,
yeah,
I'm good. I was getting updates from Staten Island and I was like, "Oh man,
oh my God,
really
yeah."
bad." I was like, "This is really like awful." I was like, I'm glad I moved.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, here's my other much more lighthearted New Jersey question for you, Jessica. Is have you become a Wawa fan? And if so, what are your favorite Wawa items?
Okay, listen. So Wawa, I've always loved, even before moving. Like, but yes, I love
as you
Wawa.
should. Yeah.
Well, I have the Wawa I'm thinking of right now, the one right up the block by Starland Ballroom.
Yep.
And my favorite items, honestly, I'm pretty lame. I'm gonna be honest. Like I go and I get like a hoagie, like I get like a sandwich and with like turkey and cheese. But I like they have this like little, it's like a breakfast croissant actually. It's like a sweet cream one.
Okay.
And that's like my favorite thing. The one thing about Wawa I'm not pleased with is they got rid of the milkshake machine. Do you remember this?
Yes.
They're not in Wawa's. Now they're in Quick Checks. And I went one day. I was like, I want a milkshake, and I was like, it was like 2 a.m. Right. Oh, anytime. That's the perfect time, right? And walked in like, oh, we don't have those anymore. I was like, come on, I want a milkshake. But otherwise, like I'm pretty lame with my Wawa orders. It's usually like a turkey and cheese sandwich and like a soda. But it's a good one.
The morning that I moved from Sayreville to Philadelphia, the Wawa that Jessica's talking about is real close to Starland Ballroom, so hence why she is still familiar, as anyone who's been to Starland Ballroom has probably also been to this Wawa. Yeah. This Wawa was very close to my old apartment. And the morning I moved, I went there and I got like an iced coffee and like a Beyond sausage sandwich. I remember.
Do they have Wawas there?
In Philly? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, there's one like not too far from me. But yeah, well, I have a couple more questions before we go into the song. I understand you take a lot of concert trips. What is the best like concert trip you have taken?
So we just got back from one. I'm not going to say it was my best one though, because it was a bigger adventure. But we did travel to St. Louis just like 2 weeks ago to go see Story of the Year. So that was really fun. But the best one and the coolest one was we went to go see the Ghost Inside in LA when they came back after their accident. Wow. And it was really a big deal.
Yeah.
It was a huge deal because they were gone. They had the bus accident.
They were out of commission for a while.
I think it was like it was 2015. I think that happened.
Yeah, it was a couple of years, I want to say.
Yeah, it was a few years. And my boyfriend, his favorite band. And I was like, let's go. I like them. We planned a whole week's vacation just in LA. And
that's amazing.
And then seeing that show, because it was just a weird, fantastic energy that I can't explain.
That is so cool.
Yeah. And that was really a fun trip. And we got to go to LA.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's definitely the best trip. We
love
had so much fun. And we like to plan. I know already. I'm like, what's the next concert we could travel to?
Right.
Yeah, we like to plan our vacations around shows sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like St. Louis.
Yeah. I love that. I honestly don't really listen to the Ghost Inside, but I just had so much enjoyment, like seeing pictures and videos from that show and hearing about their comeback was really, really nice.
It was something like, it's cool. Like that I was there. You know, it was such an experience. The crowd was just so, there was just an energy with them that was so loving and excited, and really just something you can't even explain sometimes, like those experiences. And that was a once in a lifetime.
It sounds like the kind of thing that like you could go there and not necessarily know a single song by the band, but it would just be sounds like it was just such a wonderful atmosphere that like you'd have a good time.
Yeah. And they didn't announce who their openers were going to be.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So like, and we were sitting there, we're like, we don't know who it is. Like, and we were trying to guess. We're like, oh, maybe it'll be like A Day to Remember or something, because they're close together.
Yeah.
And it ended up being this Wildlife. And I don't know if you know who they are.
I love them.
And I'm so upset that they just canceled the Dashboard Confessional tour, but that's a whole other thing.
Other story, yeah.
But so this Wildlife was the opener, and me and my boyfriend were like freaking out because we love them. We were not expecting, two acoustic playing guys to be on stage for the Ghost Inside. The crowd wasn't too like, because they did only acoustic openers.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it was supposed to be like the dynamic. But I guess the crowd didn't get that, and I was like, I'm like sitting there like dancing with my boyfriend, and everyone else is like, what's happening? This is not what we expected. But that was really cool that a band that also we love very much ended up also being an opener.
So cool. So cool.
Yeah, it was a cool adventure.
Well, last question before we go into this song, Jessica. So listeners, you can't see this, but Jessica has like all these frames behind her that are like ticket collages. And you were telling me before that you collect a lot of concert related items. What are some of your most prized items in your collections?
I got it next to me. That's what I was like.
Perfect.
I knew this question was coming. So I collect guitar picks, and I don't have that many.
Oh, that is so cool.
And then the first one I ever caught, I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, it's a GC pick.
It was the first one I ever caught.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But, and it just landed on me.
Is that Mike Hem next to it?
No, that's Paul Stanley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's Paul Stanley. So it's Good Charlotte, Paul Stanley.
The Used.
I can't remember. I think this is also from the Used. Breaking Benjamin, Sum 41, Taking Back Sunday. This is also Taking Back Sunday, Newfound Glory, Frank Iero. I got this from Amoeba Records when we went to LA. Jimmy Eat World, Bayside. I don't know if you can actually see. And this is actually from Jeff Black's record label, and because we went to Nashville.
So cool.
And then the American Pickers pick, because I was like, that's kind of cute. But usually, like tonight, I'm going to try and get a pick or a set list. I don't have a Bayside set list. So I think that's my goal tonight, is to get that. But so I have a ton of set lists also on another wall. The only thing I never got, and I wish I did, was the drumstick.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
And there's so many times, because I'm short. So this is the problem, is it'll come to me, I'll get it, but then a tall guy behind me will be like take it.
Okay, so I have a quick drumstick story before we go into the song. So this was April 2010. I was seeing Angels and Airwaves in Cleveland, where I went to school. And I was like 4 months out from knee surgery. Listeners, I've had a few of those. I was 4 months out from knee surgery. I had a knee brace on, and I was like in the middle of the pit because I was like, this is like one of my favorite bands. I'm going to have a good time. I want to be as close as I can. Got my spot, didn't move to go to the bathroom, and was getting like kind of jostled around in the pit during their set. And all of a sudden I look over, and like 6 inches from the ground is a drumstick. And so I got a Angels and Airwaves drumstick. Cool. I think because I was short and closer to the ground.
So funny, I have a similar story about one of my guitar picks.
Yeah.
For Bayside, where I was in the crowd and they threw the guitar picks. You know how people go crazy for it. And I noticed one landed like right at my feet on the floor. Obviously, other people are wanting it too. I stomped on it and just dropped. The people around me thought I was passing out because I was like, I need it. But it worked out because I'm short.
Yeah.
I was able to much quicker be able to just drop to the ground and grab that pick. And
amazing.
So I was sometimes it works out to be short, but I really want to maybe I'll try for a drumstick tonight and see what happens. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, good luck. I hope to hear of your success. I'll be looking at Twitter. Yeah. Well, let's get into Stick to Your Guns. So, I mean, Jessica, we connected, I think, earlier this year, and I'm, glad to be talking. Why did you want to talk about Stick to Your Guns in particular? What sticks out to you about this song?
Well, one, I thought it was going to be a unique experience to kind of discuss such a song where I feel like we could have such a broad discussion, but it's such a short song.
Yes.
So I think that was really what intrigued me, as well as it being on one of my favorite Good Charlotte albums, one that means a lot to me. So it was one of those things where I was like, I want to talk about all the songs. But when you like, let's talk about Stick to Your Guns, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do this kind of this little bit of a challenge and just kind of look into it a little further. And I thought it was really interesting.
I love that. Yeah, it's definitely a unique song, and I think gives us opportunity for unique discussions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you have a favorite line from the song?
So the song's only 4.
I know there's only like 4 lines.
There's only 4 lines. I don't think we could pick a line.
I know.
It's like the same thing kind of over and over again. I just think the song is it's perfect on its own. It's short and sweet and to the point. So picking a line from the song is kind of tough for this one.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's a good point. Well, let's talk about what the song means. I want to hear what you think it means, and then I'll share what I think it's about.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are you gonna play it or
no?
No. Okay, cool. I wasn't sure. I was like, are we fast? Yeah. So I think this song is, again, a very straightforward song. I think it's very much just, stick to your guns. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. And, you're just going to stick to it. And I think it speaks volumes for them, because I feel like they've always kind of stuck to who they are in music. And I feel like they've always just kind of did what they wanted to do. And this little song is just a nice, I guess, a nice statement, like a calling statement, just saying like, hey, this is who we are. It is what it is. And I really appreciate that. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I feel extremely similarly about the song. Again, I think it's very straightforward, as you were saying, do what makes you happy, even if that means doing it alone. Keep going, even if it's tough. Stay true to yourself and what you believe in.
Exactly. And I think that's very them.
Yes. Yeah, it's very them, and it's very characteristic of Good Charlotte's music as a whole, going back to the first album even, but it also, I think, is characteristic of where they were at that time. I remember interviews, around coming back from hiatus, where they said that like when they went on hiatus, they like felt like the band wasn't even theirs anymore.
Yeah. I remember that.
And they kind of, I guess, lost the sense of who they were and what they were doing. And they came back and wanted to do things very much on their own terms.
Yeah. And I think they did it so well.
Yeah.
I think it's done so perfectly for them. And I think this song speaks exactly what that is. It's like, all right, we were gone. I think they needed to, sit on it and see where the band goes, if it goes anywhere, if it doesn't. And I think that this song is pretty much just saying, we figured it out and this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really like a good statement for this album, especially.
Definitely. Yeah. I think they needed some time off after where they were, in 2010, 2011. They needed some time to kind of come back to who they wanted to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like Cardiology is also a great album, but I just feel like it never had like as much love. Like you could kind of tell with that album, even though, and again, I love that album
and
too.
I have a lot of theories on that, like ranging from like it was a different record label. It was their only album on Capitol Records. Did it just not get the push from Capitol? Like
maybe. Yeah. I also I just feel like maybe they were just run down at that point too. Like,
right. Yeah. Also possibility.
They went through just think of the albums beforehand that were just, major successes. And I feel like that they are on a new label and I can't speak for them, but like maybe they were just, pushed to make an album, and they did. And it's a great album, don't get me wrong. But I don't think that they love that album as much as like this album or like Lifestyles Rich and Famous.
No,
they don't play it live.
I think, and not to make this a cardiology episode, but
yeah.
I think if I had to guess, and this is a guess, this is not a thing any of the band members have said, but this is like a guess based on how they've talked about this album and other albums and everything. If I had to guess, part of the reason they don't like play cardiology stuff live very much and is associating that with a not great period in the band. Whether that was due to whatever sources, I don't know, but because they also will say that it's a special album, but I think it's one of those probably like hard to look back on.
Yeah, I definitely understand that, but I think so. Then going from that, which if it was a hard time for them, and they took the hiatus, they took the break, and then coming back with Youth Authority, and I just feel like it felt so fresh, and I feel like all the songs just were like done like, I don't want to say correctly because I don't know how else to word this, but it's just done in a way with love, and Stick to Your Guns, I think, was definitely that one in the middle that you could kind of feel, even though it's a minute song, you could really feel that they, this is how they feel, and they're relaxed and they're calm, and they're not, really overthinking what everyone else is thinking now, where in the past they may have.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I want to touch on kind of the production and arrangement of this song. Okay. So, I mean, it's a minute and a half long, but it's largely instrumental. There's like 4 lines of lyrics.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the kind of play between, there's, I guess, some keyboard or synthesizer. It sounds pretty digital to me. With the kind of backing vocals that are like, ooh, ooh. I think that's a really nice play together.
Yes. And I think they were using their voice as as an instrument, which was, I mean, it is an instrument, but like they were trying to make it, into more than just using actual physical instruments. They're using their body for that, which I thought was really cool too.
Yeah.
But I think kind of going back to what we were saying, that's why I think the song would be great as like an in-between at a concert, because you just do the instrumentals. It's like so good, and it's so just like, you're just enjoying, like you just kind of bop to it, and the words, and you're just in it.
Vibe out, exactly.
Yeah.
Normally this is about when I would talk about backstory of the song, point out any interviews that talk about it. I searched and searched. I did not find any interviews that mentioned this song. I mean, it's an interlude, right?
Yeah.
It's not the focal point of the album. I, as a major Good Charlotte fan, were I to be interviewing them on this album cycle, likely would have touched on this song, because I feel like it's so representative of what they've always talked about thematically, and so representative of where they were as a band at that time. Yeah. But I understand why other interviewers did not really talk about this song. I understand. Yeah. I forgive you.
But no, I agree too. Like, I feel like someone should have at least touched on it. I mean, you talk about the album, but most interviewers will touch on, the singles.
Yes.
They'll touch on, the major songs, especially for an album that, was anticipated, because we were without an album for, what was it, like 4 or 5 years or something like that? What was it
was almost 6, because Cardiology was like November 2010, and this was July 2016.
Yeah. So almost 6 years. And I think, I could see why the song could get overlooked for interviews, because you want to talk about everything else. Like, why was the hiatus? How is it feeling back? Like something like that, where there may be some I guess all interviewers kind of overlooked this song because, they want to talk about, the full length songs and the singles and, touring and stuff like that.
My strategy whenever I have done interviews is like, obviously talk about, the singles and kind of like the focus tracks, like whatever's really being pushed. But I always liked to pick like one or a couple other songs that I knew were the deep cuts, but I would always try to like find in the album, like a couple songs that I knew were not as like popular, but that I really liked and thought were like the best songs and like asked about them.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good tactic.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Jessica, do you have any memories or stories that you want to share about Stick to Your Guns?
I don't know if I have any memories. I mean, because again, we're going to go in circles with this, but it's a lot of just like being in the car and just, you kind of just hang around. It's a good driving song.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like I said before, I didn't even realize the song was so short. So like, I guess my one thing is just like being in the car and it playing on shuffle, and then a random other song shows up and you're like, oh,
right. Yeah.
Like you're like, oh my,
yeah.
I didn't expect that to end so soon.
Amazing. Yeah. The story that I want to share is not really mine. But it relates to my friend Sam Warren, who, listeners, you heard her on one of the first episodes of the show talking about Cold Song. And Sam is a very dear friend of mine. I've known her since like 2007, I think. And she has a Stick to Your Guns tattoo for this song, which I thought was so cool and so unique. Other good Charlotte songs this relates to. Any that come to mind when you think of like the theme of this song and other songs that have similar themes?
I mean, you could go all the way back to, I'm trying to think like the anthem, where it's just like, like, this is who we are. But like, as obviously time has changed. I think maybe this is like an updated anthem, I guess.
Well, it's the grown up, like,
exactly. Yes.
More articulate. It's like more articulate in a way. Like the anthem was, I think the anthem. And I also mentioned festival song, both very like direct and in your face. And like, I don't want to be like you, I don't want your boring life. And this is more just like who I'm going to be. I'm sticking to who I am. Yeah.
It's like a progression.
Yes.
Like you're seeing from the anthem where it's that, or a festival song where it's that angsty song, they just want to be, punk rock and against everyone. I think now it's like, we are who we are, and it's a more grown up version.
I mentioned too, kind of Good Morning Revival sort of as a whole. I feel like I've always felt a big theme in that album of like trying to stay true to who you are when the world around you has just caused you to become very like cynical and jaded. I feel like that certainly relates to this song as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could definitely see, especially if you listen to their albums from start to finish, you could see the progression. And Good Morning Revival, same thing. Like, it's definitely a progression, because I think at that point they were more mature than the first album. But like, you could see that compared to Youth Authority, there's a huge difference there. It's more, this is who we are. This is what we do. Whereas, Good Morning Revival, it was a lot. I want to say it was more younger, but also more leaning towards like radio. Like there was like a lot of singles on there that was kind of like that, which it was, again, great album.
Yeah.
But and at that time it made sense, because during that time frame they were at their peak. I think once coming back from their hiatus and the craziness, I think that's where the growing began. Yes. And you can definitely see that if you listen to those two albums, the difference.
Oh my God, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I want to talk about some reviews of this album. The first one is from We Plug Good Music. And they say Stick to Your Guns interlude seems to have strings and the like that segue in a contrasting sense into the harder edged The Outfield, a juxtaposition of sorts, light blending into shade, dainty delicate into bludgeoning bold. This itself tinkles innocently at times, but is also paired with driving guitar and drum.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite the review.
I know. It's very like poetic.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was just thinking. I was like, I was about to start doing snaps.
Yeah, I know. I'm like all for it. Like golf club.
And you're reading. I'm like, how is she pronouncing these words?
Well, it took me like a couple tries to pronounce juxtaposition.
Yeah, like I would have been like, what? Never mind.
Right, yeah.
I would have reworded it.
Yeah. The Odyssey Online did a song by song review of the album, and they said, there's nothing really big about this track. Most of it is instrumental, and the instrument choices were perfect. They had a lot of string instruments for this one, exclamation point. However, there are a few lyrics in this track. The name of the song in the first line, if it makes you happy, you can ride that feeling. Speak for itself, if you know what I mean.
Right, pretty much exactly what we were just talking about too.
Yeah. Sputnik Music gave the album a 1.5 out of 5.
Oh.
They said is this whiny? WHINNY? I feel like whiny would only have one N. I don't know. The whiny Stick to Your Guns saving grace is that it's just an interlude, as Joel's vocals wear thin after just 20 seconds. The whole record is littered in cliche topics of discussion, and ones that, most of the time, don't seem real or relevant to these guys anymore.
How is that? Okay. All right. Taking my boxing gloves out.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back because, I could see where someone may say that, but, how are you, saying that for an album where they, the last one was 6 years prior? Like
right.
They grew, like they're different. Like, how are you saying, oh, it's not authentic to them where, I don't know.
Do you know them? Do you know them personally?
No. And also, like, are you the same person 6 years ago? Like, I know I'm not. Like,
no.
It's definitely, I think someone's just taking a jab just to do it. And I don't think that that's fair, to make such a bad review and calling something whiny when, like, you don't know the album. And obviously, maybe we don't know the reviewer, and maybe they don't even know like their music, and they're just they're just listening to this. Yeah, like I would not be able to review a Jay-Z album. I have no idea of his music. So you hand me his album and I say, oh, it's not authentic, but like that's where I see it. Like maybe he just doesn't listen to them.
Yeah,
he needs to be a fan to really review.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna say fake fan.
Cryptic Rock appreciated how this is a good transition. They said, keeping with that more serious theme, Stray Dogs is a deep and thoughtful song that will get into one's psyche and provoke thoughts to wander freely. Then, Stick to Your Guns Interlude is the link between Stray Dogs and the outfield, lifting the heaviness of the latter and transforming it into something much brighter.
Yeah, that's like very nicely written.
Yeah.
It's like I could like see how they were wording that, but yeah, no, that's exactly how it feels though. It's very, just kind of lifts you up for the next song.
Yeah. The Daily Listening also enjoyed it. They said, it's a small moment within the record, yet the more inspirational. If it makes you happy, you can ride that feeling.
Yep, exactly.
Chorus.fm had a really fun review. Jason Tate did like a running commentary as he listens to it. At 11 with like timestamps as he listens. At 11:26 p.m. he said, not sure why this exists, but okay, Sunny, lots of what sounds like fake strings. Then he quotes the lyrics. And at 11:29 p.m. he says, this is what we're working with here, but like, what were we ever expecting from Good Charlotte? Do you go to your favorite pup expecting the best steak? Or is there something you're looking for that makes it familiar, that makes you smile in that stupid way you think you're supposed to because you saw it on the TV screen when you were a kid, where you think your friends are there for you, where you think everyone knows your name, but really the solace you find is in stupid headphones over stupid pop music, and it makes the world feel a little better and everything make a little more sense. I don't know. I clicked the volume higher.
What?
It was a very fun review. He made a comparison later in the review talking about how it was like generic, like crappy beer, but he wanted another sip. He was like, okay. What I interpreted from the review, not knowing what else Jason Tate has said about Good Charlotte, because I have no idea what he said about the band or their other albums. What I interpreted from the review was like he had very narrow and defined expectations for this album, and that the album met his like moderate expectations exactly, and fit that kind of nostalgia, whether it was like objectively good or not. It fit the nostalgia. It did what it was supposed to do. So, okay.
Got it. Okay. I understand that it satisfies his urge for a more Good Charlotte, I guess.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Punktastic said that it sounds like a knockoff Angels and Airwaves song. And you know what? Angels and Airwaves is probably like my second favorite band, so I'm cool with that.
I can't see that. I do not see that at all. I mean, I guess I feel like Angels and Airwaves is definitely more like I don't want to like I don't want to say more instrumental, but like more like it's like bigger
production.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't see that for this, especially this song in particular. But like, it's definitely bigger, and I feel like this is more, yeah. You're just cool. You're just chill.
Yeah. There were no YouTube comments, nothing on songmeetings.com, but I did pull a couple Amazon reviews that we'll read before we wrap up. Matt182 gave the album a 4 out of 5 and headlined it a solid comeback. And just said that Stick to Your Guns features electronic sound acting as an interlude for the outfield.
Yep.
Metal66 gave it a 5 out of 5 with the headline, I ran outside to see. It's not 2003. The review was in German, so I translated it with Google Translate.
Okay.
So I don't know how accurate that is. In the past I was translating some other German review, and I reached out to Nina McLaden, who had been on the show to talk about prayers. She is from Germany. I was just thinking I should have reached out to her for this, but anyway, the Google Translate from German to English says all songs are highly recommended. You can just find anything your heart wants. Personally, I also like the interlude Stick to Your Guns very, very much. The only song that consists of only keyboard parts.
That's nice. I like that they at least brought that up.
Yeah. Well, Jessica, how has this song held up for you over time, over the past, 5 years and a couple months?
I mean, I don't think it aged. Sometimes you hear a song 5 years later, like, oh, that aged badly.
Yeah.
I think it's, I think the whole album just, kept with the times. I think it's, kind of the same for me.
Yeah.
It's like the same nostalgia. Like I hear it, I'm not skipping it on my phone. I'm, listening to it. I may turn on the whole album when this comes on, just because you want to hear everything, work together. I think it held up pretty good for me. I think it's definitely, always a staple in my playlist. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. What has Good Charlotte meant to you over the years, and how has that changed?
Oh man. Okay. So
this is always the one question that gets them.
That's the one we could talk for a long time for this one, but they have always been, my favorite band. Yeah. Like number one, my favorite band. I go see them on tour. The new videos come out. I watch it. The new albums, I'm getting it the day it comes out. They just were one of those bands that just always meant a lot to me. And I always felt like they were just always around for me, like music wise. And I always, really really like their lyrics, and I don't know. I'm getting overwhelmed. No, I'm kidding. But they definitely were just one of those bands that were always consistent with my life, and the lyrics always just meant something to me. Any album, I always had a song that I could just listen to and feel like it's for me. And I just feel like they just always were around. And, people will be like, Good Charlotte's your favorite band? And I'm like, hell yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I was like, I've been listening to them since I was 12. They were one of my first concerts. They weren't my first concert, but they were one of my first concerts. And I feel like, I always have fun when I see them live. It's always, a good time, and, it's never changed. I've never been like, I'm sick of them. Never. And there are bands where I've been like that,
Yeah, where you've kind of grown past them.
Yeah, and I even have friendships that were made from them. Like me and my best friend became friends because of Good Charlotte. Because one day we were like, I forgot what we were like with a crowd of people, and we just started singing I Just Want to Live. And ever since then, that has been our song whenever they play it live, because we're always at the shows together. So it's not like just my life, but it's like my relationships too are kind of based around them, and it's a big deal, for me at least.
I love that. That's amazing.
I'm like, oh.
Well, do you have any last words about Stick to Your Guns, about GC, or about yourself?
I just think Stick to Your Guns, I think, is a great song. The album is great. Good Charlotte is great. I want to say, like, they are, such an important part, and I hope they tour soon, honestly. And I hope that they get back, especially after, obviously, what we're dealing with right now.
Yes.
Once that all passes, I really hope that they kind of get out there and make another album and really start touring. Because
this happened recently, and I think this is the first, might be the first episode we're recording since, but Joel recently posted that a week or two ago that he was going into the studio for the first time in 10 months. And then Good Charlotte Facebook page posted that too. So I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll see.
I think I need to rejoin their fan page. Do you remember that back in the day? It was the GC fam. We need to get that back and going so we can keep better updates. But I really hope that's the case. But the thing with that, because I did see that he posted that he's back in the studio, is he does more than just Good Charlotte.
Yes, but then Good Charlotte put it on their page, so that's why I'm like, okay, it sounds like it's Good Charlotte. Also, he was posting in August, which 10 months ago would have been October last year, and they put out a song December of last year. So kind of line to me, it is. Signs are pointing to him being in the studio for Good Charlotte.
I hope so. I'm really,
we'll see.
Yeah, I really hope so. I think that's I think that would make me feel so much better about this past year and a half.
Yes,
if they were we're going forward,
same.
I'm going through my Good Charlotte withdrawals. I need to see them live and just jump around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jessica, so I do a Generation GC and Friends Spotify playlist. I'm going to include the Stick to Your Guns interlude, and I would also love to get a recommendation from you. Anything you're enjoying lately, anything that's not Good Charlotte, just give me a song you're digging.
Anything? Oh, geez. I'm really digging, actually, this Wildlife's new song.
Oh, what's it called?
I can't remember the title off the top of my head. It just came out last week.
Hold on, I'm going to pull up Spotify right now.
Yeah, it's so good. I love them so much. So
they're so good live. Their harmonies are amazing.
I know. I think any song from there, but their new song is really good.
Okay. If it's cool with you, I'm cool with being through.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. It looks like that's going to be from an upcoming album called Everblossom.
Yeah, it's coming out in October.
Ooh, I didn't even know they had an album coming out. Amazing.
I just pre-ordered it.
Amazing.
I pre-ordered the vinyl just the other day.
Amazing. Well, Jessica, one other thing I like to do, and I'll mention this in the intro, is I like to ask my guests for a charity or organization that they believe in so that we can encourage listeners to donate. Listeners, that I always encourage y'all to make charitable donations, and that if you do, then I will send you some Generation JC stickers as a thank you. So Jessica, what's an organization you'd like to encourage listeners to support?
I always talk about To Write Love on Her Arms.
Amazing.
I know that's a really popular one, but for me in particular, it's really important to me that, we support that and make sure that, we're not self-harming and we're helping people who potentially can do that, are thinking about that and get the help that they need. And I think that organization really sticks close to home. And that's the one I would be like, please just donate to that one. Whenever I see their boots anywhere, I try to, buy something from them and try to, add to the cause, because it's a really good one. And it's one that I think is overlooked a lot. Yeah.
And it's really important. And I know from, things that, many of you listeners have shared, I know that it is a cause that relates to a lot of you. And I know I frequently mention, and I'll mention this now, that they have a lot of great resources on their website too. They have a button that says find help, and you can, put in what area you're in, and they'll help you find resources in your area.
Yep.
Yeah.
it's a great cause.
Amazing. Well, Jessica, thank you for coming on. Do you want to share your social media if people want to keep up with you?
Oh, yeah. I just changed the name too. But so I have Instagram and it is Jessica Saren Mia. I'll send you that
Great.
hashtag in a little bit. And the same goes for my Twitter.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Jessica, thank you for coming on the show. I will certainly send you some New Jersey restaurant recommendations.
Yes, please do. I need it.
Thank you for coming on. Listeners, thank you for tuning in. On our last regular episode, we talked about counting the days from cardiology. Last time, we had a bonus episode where we talked about Jaded by Mest, featuring Benji Madden. And next time, we'll be talking about Generation RX. Thank you for tuning in to episode 80. What the hell? Episode 80. That's insane. That means I've talked about Good Charlotte on the internet for like 80 plus hours. That checks out. Thank you for tuning in. Please make sure to follow Generation GC at Generation GC Pod, POD, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And make sure to subscribe to the show wherever you listen. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please rate and leave a review. But most importantly, tell your friends. Word of mouth is the best way for the Generation GC fam to grow.